Hello to everyone who is watching this. I hope that you all are doing good today, and I hope that you've been having a blessed Tuesday. In today's video, I wanted to talk about basically what the title says. So, people who might see this in the future, like maybe in a year to 5, maybe years, will see this and just jump on the bandwagon of a hate train. And I basically want to give my own experience and my own opinions as I do on here. And as I've said before in like many videos, that you have every right to disagree with me. Just don't revoke my freedom of speech to also have an opinion. So, in other words, cancellation, blocking me for just having an opinion, because an opinion itself does not hurt anyone. So, as you can tell by the title of the video, it is about the trans community. So, a lot of the extreme left like to use the argument of, you're not trans, so you don't get to have an opinion on what trans people think. And then I'm like, cool your jets, freedom of speech and all that. Everyone should have an opinion, even if you're not living in an even if you are living in an echo chamber, or not, everyone should say what they think. So, I mostly identify with the old school libertarian mindset. I've not looked into it a lot, but when I've heard of people explain what it was like to be on the left in the 60s, or how people still identify as like the old school left, it's very much what I align with when it comes to actual civil rights for people. That's kind of when civil rights became a thing in the 60s, because in the 50s downwards there pretty much wasn't any rights for anyone that was white, men that were not trans and gay. And then the 60s came round, and then people started to think about people that aren't 100% that mindset and actual living experience. So, So, I want to get into some arguments that I've had over the years with some of my friends and just people spouting shit on Facebook. So, as I've said on my YouTube channel, and I think even on this Twitch stream in a video before, all of the political ideologues, whether it's progressive, left, Republican, conservative, they all have a certain way of being, and they make people, or they talk people into possibly changing their mind and being their mindset. So, for example, I've never met or seen on YouTube, because I watch a lot of like different sides to every coin stuff on YouTube, and I've never in my life have seen on there a non-binary trans person conservative, because it's all in the mindset, and I would imagine that that political movement wouldn't necessarily be happy with that. They would listen to this story and they would give them a platform. Now, the conservatives are actually the ones that are a bit more level-headed compared to modern liberals, and I personally think that's quite annoying, because it used to be the opposite. But if someone's got to do it, it should be someone on any team. Um, so the reason why I brought that up is because I want to make a distinction on, because conservatives in the past were very anti-gay, anti-trans, anti-black, and if you go back into old interviews or clips of conservatives back in like maybe the 80s downwards, they would actually say that, and it was not a shocking thing for them. That some people agreed, some people didn't, but they were not apologetic about it. It's just always been a thing with the conservative movement. And it's getting more, I would say that they're not looking to gay people as much, but because the conversation around trans people is so prevalent, obviously they focus more on that. So that I have like research, there is not one gender fluid slash non-binary conservative, because it's just not appreciated in the community. They don't focus on it, or they don't appreciate it. Where on the left, you just have to go on one Google search and you'll find like loads, and it's because it's very much what the left pushes at the minute. So there's another thing that I want to say in this video. They'll say it's the same thing, but it's not. There is a difference between actually being a trans person who has gender dysphoria, sees it as a mental illness, and takes steps to then transition into the gender that they want to be, whether it's male or female, and just being a non-binary or a gender fluid. If anything, it's literally like the complete opposite. Because when you're trans, like an actual trans person, you are born, obviously, the biological sex and gender that you were born, but you have that mentalness in your head telling you and making you feel like you were born in the wrong body, so then you transition into the other body. So you're not an in-between gender, or you're not a made-up gender that the left always makes up. You were just born in the wrong one, so you go from one to the other, where non-binary and gender fluid are very much like middle ground. Let's create on the daily new sexualities and new genders that isn't just a basic gay guy, gay girl, trans woman, trans man kind of thing. So, there is an actual scientific backing and basis for trans people. Trans people have existed since time began, where if you look into it, the term non-binary and gender fluid have only been a thing for probably like 15 years, and it's because it's a creation, it's not real. And if we continue pretending that it is real, then people will get used to it. But at the same time, it's hard because you don't want to be disrespectful to people. I like to think, even if I disagree with what you do in your life or how you come across, that I'll always try my best to be loving, and I will always try my best to not be too much of a dick, because I don't like them people. So, it's hard for me to say what everyone should do, because obviously I believe in freedom of speech for everyone, so everyone should do something different. But I do think that we need to not allow this to be a normal thing to expect when someone that you meet is non-binary or gender fluid. You should, if I was to say any advice to anyone who agrees with me, don't say what they would like to be preferred, but at the same time, don't also say what they say, don't call me this. Can't find a middle in between that is not made up. I've done this before. I've also found it better to just say their name and not say a pronoun. Because it's easier to tell your brain to remember instead of saying she, her, him, him, and he. To just say, to tell yourself to say the person's name. Then that way you are still addressing them. You're not offending them by not saying kind of what they don't want to be referred as, but at the same time you're not going along with the narrative. So I wanted to kind of make that clear, that you don't have to acquiesce, you don't have to say, I agree with everything with what you said, because you'll have, like, no respect within yourself if you really disagree. We have to be brave as human beings and say what's on our mind, but at the same time, don't come across as being too dicky. So come up with a way that is actually, like, fair, but also not going along with the bullshit. I do truly believe that everyone should have the right to live their best life, even if I disagree with it. There is someone in my friendship group, actually, who says that this person is trans. And I personally don't believe this person. So another thing that the trans community don't want to tell you is a lot of the trans people are really just basic gay guys and gay girls. It's weird, but they believe, they'll never admit it because it makes them look bad, and they'll even convince themselves that they're not doing it, but when you look into it, there's a lot of detransition stories out there if you look for it on YouTube or on any other social media apps, and a lot of them say that they were just basic gay guys and gay girls that were stereotypical, so very effeminate men, or very, like, butch manly women. And a lot of what they say is, I was told that I can't love who I want to love unless I transition. So that is toxic as hell. If anyone watches this in the future, by the way, I just wanted to say hi, the one viewer. Hope you're having a good day today. I just wanted to shout you out. If this ends up getting a bit more publicity, and if anyone is interested in the future, I might actually kind of, like, put the camera to where my head is and where my computer is, and I might actually film me reacting to a detransitioner story that's saying this. That way you know that I'm just not talking out my ass. But yeah, the trans community is trying to take away basic gay guys and gay girls and trying to talk them in to being this non-gendered trans thing. Because a lot of people that say that they're trans will admit that they don't suffer with gender dysphoria, that they like to be trans, and that they chose to be trans. That is not what trans is in the slightest. It's a mental disorder. Everyone that I know who has actual gender dysphoria and then transitions said that the feeling was so bad and they hated being in the wrong body that it made them have to transition. So that's another thing. And they said that the whole premise of the LGBT community is the fact that we say, this is not a choice, we are who we are, we love who we love, we have the right to transition from a body to another and live normal lives, but it was not a choice. So the fact that some of them say, you know, I woke up feeling like I was born kind of in the other body because I'm more masculine or more feminine than my other gender and sex counterparts. And I'm just like, that is literally everyone. So, again, you can look at that, or if this gets more publicity, I will definitely do a review video. So, like I say, so I can prove that I'm just not talking out my ass. I don't also like how the trans community is trying to link itself with predators, but they call themselves non-binary or trans, so people don't take it too seriously. If you look into a lot of the criminal systems, a lot of, like, I wouldn't say loads, but a lot more than people that just simply aren't trans. A lot of people now are pretending to be a different sex or gender to get brownie points or to get a lesser jail sentence. And it's working, unfortunately, because people are so, like, afraid of being anti-woke that it actually just, like, makes me sick. The fact that I'm not saying that they full on endorse it. If you were to have a conversation with these people, they would say, obviously, someone that is a predator and actually does the act is a very sick thing and they should be put in jail. But they will focus too much on if you've said the wrong pronouns before you know, they've addressed what they've actually done. And that's what I don't like. A lot of the trans people, not all, but more than average, there are a lot more cases of trans women. And again, if you look into it, or if this gets more notoriety from people, if people want to know, I'll like do a reaction thing. There is this pandemic, like an actual pandemic, of women wanting to be men and then converting back because they feel uncomfortable being a woman today because of the misogyny that they either have experienced or because their community loves the victimhood, so they convince themselves they have. So then they think, well, I'm going to transition into the other one, but there's also more to it. So that's also what I don't like, just how sexist they are. Water break. And I also don't like this new wave of trans activists, or even just people in general, who believe and promote the unlegalization, or shall I say legalization, sorry. No, basically, they promote that minors should transition and go on puberty blockers, even if they've just started puberty. And again, it has a detrimental effect. Once you get a specific hormone in transitioning, it's unreversible. And it's just like so stupid because, you know, in this country, you're not allowed to have sex at 16 and you're not allowed to drink until you're 18. But like, without your parents' consent, they allow someone to have surgery and go through the process of socialising, transitioning. Which, to me, again, is just crazy. What a lot of people that are in that mindset forget to think about is puberty is a really powerful thing and it changes people. It changes people a lot. Like, a lot of what you might be thinking just might be typical teenager stuff right before you transition. Right kind of during your puberty story. Um, so, yeah. What I also don't like about the trans community, or I want to preface that when I say trans community, I don't mean adult, non woke, living, breathing transsexuals that are just living their life and are actually annoyed themselves. Like, I'm not talking about Jamie, the offensive trannies, the Blair Whites, and the Book Angels of the world. They're just living their best life, and you know, talking about their experiences and actually saying it's annoying that we're a part of this bullshit, but we have to talk about it. Really, I'm talking about the people that are fake trans. I'm talking about the people, like I say, who are just trans and that are not trans, I mean, and just kind of faking it for attention or for healing their emotional traumas. I have no problem with adults transitioning. I just have an issue when a community tries to force a ideology in someone's head. Because, like I say, puberty is a powerful thing. It changes you, literally, on the outside and on the inside. And, like I say, when you look into a lot of these transition cases, it's literally a lot of the feelings are the typical feelings that normal people go through when they go through puberty. So I kind of wanted to make a video to explain my ideas about it and also my feelings about the community. And again, I want to preface that everyone has the right to say I agree or disagree, and it should be normalised for everyone to have an opinion. So I want to end this video by saying love yourself, love your mind, love your body, love your heart, love nature, love the world, love yourself. Peace out, man.